Welcome back to 1 Minute Monday. I hope you're all doing really well. This week we're taking a look at two reels that we haven't reviewed before. They are the Nash Scope GT 4000 and the Scope GT 6000. Now, when these were released a couple of years ago, they underwent a lot of flack on social media, as everything does these days, because they're a new product brought out by Nash that they wouldn't usually do, a really high-end carp reel. But since then, the sales have skyrocketed through the roof because everyone's figured out they're actually very good, super reliable, and they do the job very well. So now it seems that the Scope GT reels have firmly found their place in the carp fishing market. But why exactly is that? Why do people like them so much? Well, I'm here to give you a few pointers and give you a bit of a personal review on my own reels that I've had for about 18 months. So firstly, what is in the range? You get the Scope GT 4000, which is the smaller one, which is more suitable for your 6-foot rods and shorter rods. And then you get the Scope GT 6000, which fits perfectly on 9-foot rods and on the 10-foots as well. Both of them are saltwater enhanced to improve the long-term working capabilities, which also means if you go on holiday, you could take these reels with you to do a bit of sea fishing maybe. We've got an aluminium body with stainless steel workings, and inside all that you get 9+1 ball bearings, you get a waterproof sealed quick drag, a line-friendly line clip, and then the bit that everyone seems to really like, the honeycomb one-piece score, which makes it a little bit lighter in the hand. Talking about weights and statistics for you, let's run through a few of them. So the Scope GT 4000 has a line retrieval of 92 centimeters per turn, which I think is quite a lot for a small reel. It weighs in at just 335 grams, and it can take a whopping 290 meters of 0.28 line. The Scope GT 6000 on the other hand, obviously it's a slightly bigger reel, so you get slightly more line retrieval at 105 centimeters per turn, weighs in at 489 grams, and you can take a monstrous 430 meters of 0.40 mono on there. Absolutely monstrous capacity. Now, it's fair to say with the Scope GT 6000 you now get spool spaces in there, so you don't have to put 430 meters of line on it every time. You can space it out. It takes about 250 meters or so, which is what I've done with mine. Now, the reels themselves I feel are quite suited for a certain type of fishing. Now, if you fish at 150 yards all the time, these probably aren't the reels for you due to the spool depth. You're probably looking for something more like a 45mm spool, like the emblems from the Daiwa World or something like that. But if you need a lot of line for bait boat work, if you boat your rigs out, if you don't fish very far out, you don't need that deep spool. So a smaller compact reel would suit you perfectly. And that's also why these have such a huge line capacity. You've got to think that a lot of Nash's customer base is on the continent as well, and they do a lot of boat work, a lot of bait boat work at huge distances. So they want that line capacity so they can get their rigs out where they need them to be. Now in the UK, obviously we don't all fish at 300 yards, which is why you've now got the spool spaces available on the GT 6000s. So you can still comfortably fish 250 yards with loads of backing still to go and know that you've got the cranking power there to bring in whatever it is you're reeling in. A couple of other quite nice little features on the reels. You get a quick fold handle, you also get a wooden knob, and you get an EVA knob as well, so you can change it out if you want to. The reels in the hand feel really nice. They're not very heavy, they sit perfectly on the shorter rods as I've said, so when you've got them on like a 9-foot scope or any other 9-foot rod, they're going to bounce out really well. Likewise with the GT 4000, when you're holding that on a 6-foot rod, it feels like it's not even there. But because of how they've been designed and how they've been made, even the small GT reel has got an immense amount of cranking power. So whether you're fishing under the rod tip for massive fish or you're just flicking baits out for anything else, you know you've got the power in reserve in the reel when you need it. Now, I think one of the big negatives from these reels when they were released to the general public was the price of them. The GT 4000 is 150 quid and the GT 6000 is 190 quid. So they aren't cheap reels, they are a very high-end reel. I think a lot of the public didn't expect or know that Nash could produce something that expensive, that high-end in a reel. And obviously, since I said at the start of the video, since then the sales have skyrocketed through the roof, proving that they are exactly what you pay for. So I've had these reels now for 12-18 months and I've used them on bait boat work up to 200 yards. I've used them flicking soft hookable floaters out on the 6-foot rod. I've used them for all of my fishing that I would use every other reel for, and I've got to say I'm absolutely in love with them. I think they're brilliant. I've really liked the drag. The drag's very nice. It's got a very nice sound as well when line's peeling off it, which is always a bonus. Casting wise in my hands, now I'm a self-confessed terrible caster. I cannot cast further than 100 yards to save my life. Never needed to, never feel the want to. But for me, up to 80-90 yards are absolutely perfect. I know a few other guys that have got these reels on the 10-foot rods and can cast comfortably up to 120 yards or so. So in the right hands, obviously they're going to be able to do better. But for me, they serve me perfectly for what I need, up to about 100 yards casting, and then bait boat work up to 200 yards, something like that. Hold the line perfectly. The line lays really nice on the spool, and more importantly, when you're reeling them back in again or you've got a fish on, they're absolute joy to use. Now if you want to have a look at them closer, obviously you've got them in store, come down, have a look at them, have a play with them yourselves. And they're also on our website as well, so I'll put the link in the description down below so you can check them out there. But that's it from me for this one. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you next time.